If someone in your household got COVID-19, do you qualify for UI PUA benefits, and how do you define a household? Hey everybody, this is LA with a second stimulus check and stimulus package update for today, our third of fourth videos. As always, this one's about PUA, UI benefits, and FPUC. That FPUC is that $600 from the federal government. Remember, the $600 from the federal government expires in late July. It's called FPUC. It is not PUA. Yesterday, I went over the details of how you qualify for PUA, and one of the repeated eligibility criterion was if someone in your household got COVID-19, or you are a parent and took care of a child who had to stay at home in your household because their school was closed during the pandemic. What I got, or seemed to be suggested in some of the comments last night, was what is a household and how do you define household? And I'm going to be going over that, but I'm also going to be going over some really important questions and answers you need to know if you're newly unemployed in the last few days or weeks. These are things you need to know. First, let me start with that. If you are newly unemployed or have newly had your hours reduced and qualify for PUA, what do you need to be aware about? First, as I detailed yesterday, PUA pays benefits to you if you're an independent contractor. PUA is for independent contractors. UI is for employees. Let me say that again. If you work at Macy's and are a W-2, you are an employee. If you are a plumber or an electrician and you work for yourself, you are PUA. You are an independent contractor. PUA independent contractors, the law states for PUA that you must be ineligible for UI. So at no time can you say I'm on UI and PUA. You're not. PUA actually requires you to apply for UI in most states and get a denial because you're an independent contractor before getting PUA benefits. Repeat, PUA requires you to be ineligible for UI. Some viewers in comments a few days ago said, I'm getting $600 from the federal government, I'm PUA. No, $600 from the federal government is not PUA, it's FPUC. Let's go over some very basic things before I get to some more important stuff in this video. First, UI benefits. UI benefits are paid to employees, W-2s, who have been laid off. Your number of weeks of benefits stem from your state. Then you have an extension of benefits provided for you in the first stimulus package, the CARES Act, passed in March. Those number of benefits are delineated in a law now called FPEUC. That's your second period of extended benefits. Your third period of extended benefits for unemployed people is what's called state extended benefits. Lots of states have now extended benefit periods longer for people in their state. States have the ability to extend benefits for employees who are laid off during emergency times. These are emergency times. So states have now triggered those extended benefits. So to recap, employees have your initial period of time, you have an extension for under FPEUC, and you have extended benefits under your state. There's a fourth scenario, and the fourth scenario is currently pending. It's not law, unlike the first three. The fourth scenario is the HEROES Act. It's currently in the Senate. It'll arrive from this House. The HEROES Act extends the number of weeks of benefits additionally into 2021. All right, so that's UI, that's employees. Now let's do PUA. PUA is for independent contractors. PUA is for independent contractors who are impacted by COVID-19. The most common thing that people forget about with independent contractors is one of the grounds to get PUA is that your hours have been reduced. You don't have to lose all your hours. You don't have to be totally unemployed as an independent contractor to get PUA. PUA only needs to show that you had your hours reduced, but there are other grounds to be eligible for PUA. Among them are You had to stay at home because your child, because their school is closed. You got COVID-19. Someone in your household got COVID-19 that you take care of. So that is all that. Let me go over some things that are now important for you to understand if you're new to this channel and you're just about to go on to benefits in the next few days, or just started a few days ago. First, the date of impact. The date of impact is so important. You need to not mess up that date. If you mess up the date, you really can't fix it. The date of impact asks you, when are you impacted by COVID-19? So here is an example how not to mess this up. If you are a father, stay-at-home single father, and you have a son, your son couldn't go to school because of the pandemic in March. The school shut down March, April, and May. So the school is now reopened. The child's back in school in July, in June and July. The school is reopened in June and July. You watch this channel and say, I should have applied for PUA back in March. I'm going to do it right now. When you go to apply for PUA now, you need to list the March date. That was the date the school was closed down. You don't list today's date as your date of impact. Your son, you are not impacted today. You're impacted in March. It'll pay you benefits from every week that you indicate retroactively that you were impacted by COVID-19. So in that scenario I just described to you, your son's school was closed March, April, May. You will be entitled to benefits from March, April, May. You don't put down July because the school is now open. This is so, so important. Now, here's another scenario. Let's say you're a plumber and your hours were reduced in March and are still reduced up to the present. You just found out about PUA. You had never filed for PUA before. You understand how to do it. You go through all the steps and you mess it up and you list your date of impact as today. Big mistake. You know how much of a mistake that is? Let's do the math. It's a fortune. March, April, May, June. 4 months you messed up in your calculation. 4 months times 4 weeks, that's 16 weeks. 16 weeks times about $800 a day, $800 a week. I mean, it's a fortune. You messed up 16 weeks potentially of benefits. It is a lot of weeks to mess up. So don't mess up your weeks. Don't mess up the date of certification. It is the date at which you are first impacted that you are qualifying for benefits. Next, the reason for impact. You need to ensure that you understand the reason for impact. Don't rush through it. Understand it and go through it slowly. Third, documents to use. These are very important. Understand what your 2019 earnings are. Understand what your 2019 earnings are. I had a lot of viewers back in April when this channel launched in its first videos. They said I hadn't done my tax return yet. Well, your tax return is due now. It's due now. So you need to know what your 2019 earnings are. Why? You need to have that document ready. You need your 2019 tax return ready for the simple reason: escalated benefits. The way UI, PUA, and FPUC are impacted is not FPUC, UI and PUA is escalated benefits. If you made a certain amount of money per year, you may be entitled to more benefits. How does this work? What is he talking about? What is the amount of money? Let me go through it. When you get approval for UI or PUA, you start in at your state's base benefits, which are about 139, 169, 179, whatever your state is. They're all different from state to state. You start your state's base benefits. They'll send you that plus $600 from FPUC from the federal government. Okay, that's where you start at. If you made over $30,000 in 2019, which is some viewers of this channel, if you made over $30,000 in 2019, you're almost, in many cases, at complete escalated benefits. You're almost maxing out. That's how quickly escalated benefits run up. Escalated benefits are somewhere between $300 to $400 per week in some states. So instead of $130, $140, $150, you're getting $300, $400 a week plus $600. It's a lot of money. It's like $1,000 a week of money. How do you do that? Well, you're going to have to provide them documentation. What documentation? Your 2019 tax return. It'll indicate the amount of money you made, and that is how you'll trigger the escalated benefits. When do they pay the escalated benefits? As slowly as they can. They hate paying escalated benefits. I mean, they're states. They don't want to give you money. They want to get you funneled through the cheapest and simplest manner as possible. They want to get you out the door at base benefits. They don't want to escalate you. So if they can make it difficult for you to submit the documentation, they will. That's how states operate. Ultimately, most states have the ability to upload documents, to send those documents, to say, hey, here are my 2019 returns. I would qualify for escalated benefits. Let's get to household. Boy, this is really minutia. This is really important. Very, very important. If you heard yesterday's video, I went through the grounds to be eligible for PUA or FPUC or UI, and with PUA, we had those ones where someone in your household had COVID-19. Well, what's a household? I mean, here's that guy with that on the other side of the camera telling me, household, what's a household? And who is in my household? And how do we define household? Well, you know what? I pulled the definition for you. The definition it's a federal definition of household under section 273.1. Household is generally composed of the following individuals, a group of individuals. First, if you're living alone, that's probably, that's easy one. 2, an individual living with someone, generally for preparing meals for consumption separate or apart for others. A group of individuals living together for preparing meals together as a home consumption. Spouses. A person under 22 years of age who's living with their adoptive parents or step-parents. A child under 18 years of age. Elderly or disabled persons living with someone as well. So household can be defined a lot of different ways. If you live with an adoptive child, if you live with a foster child, if you live with an elderly person, if you live with if you live with a person you care for, a lot of things qualify for a household that you normally would not think of. I mean, when we think about household, we think about husband, wife, and child. But there's a lot more things that often qualify for household. There are also boarding arrangements, people that may have, foreign exchange students that live with them as part of a household. There's all those things. I mean, no one really ever does a video on something as detailed as this, but it happens all the time. It happens all the time when there's someone living with you and you wonder, is that person part of my household? So there you go. FPUC, PUA, and UI benefits is a lot of money. This channel has been detailing that we think FPUC is going to get extended. There's all indications from members of the Senate and members from the House that FPUC will get extended. The HEROES Act, which is currently on the books in the Senate, proposes to extend FPUC, that's $600 from the federal government, way into 2021. It does a lot of extensions. The one thing that I've been hitting home over and over and over again on this channel is that if you are on UI or PUA now and getting FPUC, you will get more weeks of benefits than someone who newly comes on the program after the bill is passed. I'll repeat that again. So if someone is sitting back and thinking, you know what, I think I qualify for PUA. I should have been getting PUA. Or I think I qualify for UI. I should have been getting it. I think I qualify for that FPUC, that $600. I should be getting it. Go get it now. Don't wait, because the law as written, the law as proposed, the HEROES Act, treats someone who comes into the program in August or September totally different than someone who's on it now. How different is it? It basically says that we will give people that come into the program later on less extensions into 2021 than someone who's already on it. It makes sense. I mean, if you're on it now, you need more weeks of extensions. How many weeks are PUA? PUA by law, adopted in the CARES Act, gives you 33 weeks. Well, if you started in March, you're already using up those weeks, if you're still using them. So you need a lot more weeks of extension than someone coming in in August. It's so critical. Ultimately, and I get this a lot. People ask me, what does PUA conflict with? Does it conflict with EIDL? There's no indication that it does. Does it conflict with PPP? Yes. PUA does inherently conflict with PPP, and I'll tell you why. PUA says you're not back at work unless you certify that your reduced number of hours. PPP is to get people back to work. So you can't be sitting at home not working under a UI PUA environment and then also be at work with a PPP. There's also this. I think it seems so obvious, but it always comes up in comments somewhere. You can't be on UI and PPP as far as I can figure out the scenario. PPP is for business owners, whether you're self-employed or you own a business. You can't be a Macy's employee and be on PPP if that's all you do. If all you do is work for Macy's as a W-2, you can't be going out and getting PPP money as far as I can fathom a scenario for this. Again, that's if you only work for Macy's as a W-2. But PUA and PPP do conflict. You can't be sitting at home and not working and collecting PUA while PPP is saying, hey, get back to work. Ultimately, that's a question you need to ask your PPP lender. If you have questions in today's video, drop them in the comments below. I may answer them in tomorrow's recording. Coming up later today, our 4th of 5 video, and that is about rent assistance. Really shocking news coming out of what could be coming about new rental problems come late July. As always, stay with LA for more.